this year I think is really exciting. We've got a general election in the UK, and it's probably going to be on May the 6th, which means that like a month after they're going to go to Bonn for the intercession. Then there's Mexico next December. I think it's going to be one of those years where it's going to be constantly trying to keep up with what people are doing and staying really flexible and being able to respond to events as they happen. I kind of think that a lot of the focus for this year needs to be on the next 5 years, because, especially in the UK, because we're voting in a government that are going to be our government for the next 5 years. So they're going to be our government during the time when world emissions need to peak and start falling. And the thing that I really want to do in the UK is try and join together the environmental thing and the electoral reform, because until people have a stronger sense of like participation and their role within a democracy and their role as active citizens, I think that they will be very, very resistant to the really large-scale transformations that we need. Because all the research seems to be saying people mostly do think that climate change is happening. They are scared about it. They do want government and business to do something, but they don't want to pay for it. And that to me is just the biggest barrier, because we've got to be heading towards a more equal world. And although I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that we will gain, and it's not that we're giving everything up, at the same time it will feel to some people like they're giving stuff up. And we've got to find some way of communicating with them that there is a better place that we're going afterwards. Everybody hates Shell. Everybody hates Shell. I'm a world bank. I'm a world bank. I'm a world bank. No thanks. I kind of divide people up into people that are actively making the problem, people that are kind of neutral on the problem, and people that are actively trying to do something about it. You know, there's very few people that are like so much actively part of the problem that you're like, okay, you are the evil person. Like, I saw Lord Kerr speak the other week, and he's the deputy chair of Shell, and I think that like he's the problem. Whereas other people who maybe work for Shell lower down, maybe they're less of a problem. But I still think that they should leave their job, I guess, and go and try and do something which is less rubbish. I also think that it doesn't do much good to put it in those kind of really moralising terms, because the point is that you're supposed to persuade people to be better, and telling them that they're wrong often isn't the way to make them better.
It's a third world situation happening in Ireland right on our doorstep, and it's a real example of how like the fossil fuel industries just will not be stopped. So the next line goes, everybody hates Shell. Everybody hates Shell.
One of the first things is that I would hope that most of the people that know me well enough, or that care about me, or even people that don't know me that well, I would hope that they have a more positive vision of protest and that they speak more positively about it because they know someone that does it. So even if they're not doing it themselves, they're helping to create a culture in which it's acceptable and in which they expect somebody to do it, and that they're fighting against people who are saying that we're just like selfish do-gooders or whatever. I also think that everyone has to do what they're best at and come at it from the thing that they can really do. And a lot of how difficult or easy something is for you is like entirely circumstantial, to do with like what part of your life you were in when you suddenly realised that this really mattered. And for a lot of people, like if you've already got
kids, if you've already got a family, if you're already in a job that you've been doing for a long time and you care about, it's not as simple as just being able to say, well, but climate change is more important. Of course that's easy for me to say. I don't have any of those things. So, like, not judging people on that score, like being, well, like when I stopped eating meat and I was like, yeah, but I don't particularly want meat most of the time. Like, I don't really think about it. I don't crave it. And I know that other people feel differently about it, and that for them giving up meat would be a much bigger thing to do. So I can't really judge them on my own terms for that. Climate change is a women's issue. It affects women more than men because women are poorer than men. We're going into a situation of like massive crisis when the existing power differentials between men and women are just going to get worse. And also because at the heart of the problem is overpopulation, and that's something that women can control. If women are given the tools to control it, then they do. So, like, controlling fertility is the way that we're going to get out of this. I think I've always imagined having an unconventional family life, and so the idea of not having children, like physically having children, is not a radical one. Like, I'm certain that if I felt like a really strong maternal need, that I could adopt and that would be fine. Or that I could just channel a lot of energy into lots of different children, and be a really good, like, extra parent in their life. Because I feel like I grew up with lots of parents, and that was a really, really good and positive thing for me. I don't think that I can justify bringing another consumer into the world. I love children, I really love them. But the fact that I love other people's children so much, to me, just says, well, maybe they don't need to be mine. But we'll see. I mean, I might be completely wrong about it. My ideal thing would be some kind of global movement where basically Western women pledge to fund family planning programs in the third world, and third world women pledge to have only 2 children, as a kind of global solidarity way of, counteracting the massive unsustainability hell that we're heading into.